Sherry Collier is CEO and co-owner of Enroute Personal Training in Annapolis. So we're going to chat a bit today about women's health and fitness, particularly as we get into the ages of 40s and 50s and beyond. So Sherry, tell me a bit about yourself, how long you've been doing this, and a bit of your background and education experience.
Yes, I have been training for at least 30 years, like certified training. Before that, I did it just for fun to kind of help people, to make them feel better. But I got into training more so. I grew up struggling. I was very shy. I ran track because it was a lone sport, because group fitness and somebody depending on me made me nervous. That what if I mess up? The whole team goes down with me. But no, so I got into I started running. I was a runner for a long time. My dad was a runner and a weightlifter, big man for a runner, but he was a diehard runner, and he pretty much instilled that in me. So I started running, did marathons. Then my dad took me into the gym for the first time. I thought I was in such great shape. I was like shaking, and I was like, oh, I'm not in such great shape. So that's when I decided I wanted to be more well-rounded, and healthy in all directions. So that's when I kind of fell in love with the weights, realizing that you can shape your body to a point, with that, depending on your genetics and your makeup. But it was a way to, I think, you can control things. Like I could control how I felt, I could control my workouts, whereas life for a lot of us is just totally out of control. There's things that we can't control, but that we can. And it just has saved me through the years, through a lot of personal issues and problems and trouble, that it's always been there for me. It's always made me feel better. So I wanted to share that with so many others, men, women, kids. A lot of kids are struggling right now, young girls, with body image, the media, thinking they're not good enough. But if we can instill in them strength and they have control over things, that makes me feel good. And I've seen the changes in people when they walk in the door and they're just down and they don't feel good, they're depressed. And, they start to have confidence in themselves and feel good. And that's kind of what I love to see. Men, women, kids, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things at play there when it comes into the mindset, and then just falling into routine and having the control over it, and understanding and learning about your own body and diet, nutrition, stress management, sleep,
Yeah.
and everything that kind of goes downhill from there, or downstream from there. So would you say then, you mentioned distorted body image issues, disordered eating and things like that, which if not addressed and start in adolescence through teen years and then carry on through adulthood as well. What kind of an influence do you think social media is having on that today?
It's kind of scary because it's not just girls, the young girls, young boys are watching some of this and thinking that what they're seeing is real, and it's not. A lot of the things that they're looking at have been altered, and a lot of it's just not realistic to be healthy. And that's what I tell people when they come in as far as that goes. If you strive to, and they might come in and say, I want to look like this, or the young girls, I want to look like this, or I want to look like them. I tell them, okay, that's fine, but let's strive to be healthy. All that will fall into place. If you're overweight, and you're trying to get control of that, strive to be healthy, do everything to be healthy, and that comes together. Same thing if you're underweight. You got to eat more. You got to eat. So I think that the media and the with kids, it's just somehow we got to get through to them, and I think it is. You see more kids in the gym now working out. They just need to be taught how to do so correctly, so that they don't get hurt and they're not overdoing it. because they think that, oh, if I do more, if I do what I saw so and so do, most of the people that they see, the workouts they're showing you, they're not just doing those workouts. They're doing other things too.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's something that they have to understand that.
And and you're talking to kids is like, you're very stubborn, because a lot of kids, they know everything,
Yeah.
and you can't tell them anything,
Yeah.
and that's fine. That's what being a kid is all about. I know when I see teenagers in the gym, and it's just I cringe,
Yeah.
and I was like, please somebody tell you, please somebody coach you, because that's where bad habits, technique and things, that's when it gets ingrained, is those early days, and sometimes those things are so hard to break out of.
Yeah.
One thing about that I've kind of known and understood about social media, particularly when you have influencers and you have these kind of, particularly like people who are looked up to, and kind of the fitness space, is that you, for example, coming out of competition recently, is these photographs and videos are taken at peak condition.
Yeah.
And they're stocked and they're stored, and they are posted throughout the course of a cycle, over the course of a year perhaps, and so people just assume that you walk around lean, muscular, and vascular, and well rested, and tan, and groomed, this all the time, 24/7.
Yeah,
We know
not the case.
that's not the case, and it takes far more than that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You did now we're going, I'm not talking about the most recent few years, but your first bodybuilding shows were how long ago?
They have been about 26 years ago was my first experience, and I'd never even been to a bodybuilding show. Did 2 shows, did very well, but then, haven't done any until just 3 years ago.
Right.
So, so that was an experience earlier on. I wish I'd stuck with it, but I didn't know any better, and that's when I just started training other people for all these years, until just recently. Thought, let me try that again.
Yeah, let's do that again.
And it's fun.
So it goes to show that it's not something that happens overnight. People get discouraged. Men and women get discouraged. Kids get discouraged because very impatient.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you exercise, you lift, you get your diet dialed in, you feel like you got the lifestyle, and then if you don't look like your favorite fitness influencer after a month, you get discouraged and you fall off. You're a perfect example. You've been training with weights and playing at least solo sport as a runner since a young lady, and then competing years and years ago for the first time, and now getting back into competition here within the last few years. You see, it takes decades.
Yeah,
decades.
It does.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking prior to doing this, genetics plays a role for sure. And there's so many genetic components, not just the physical, biological, but even brain. And psychology as well.
Yeah.
So that's to say, we also chatted a bit about what our cravings are for food.
Yeah.
And I said, what is it, sweet tooth? You're like, yeah. I'm like, fatty? Yeah. Salty? Yeah. All of the above. And I'm like, I tend to I get these weird cravings in the middle of the night, and where does that come from? I'm sure there's a lot of things. And sleep, which we will talk about, because everybody who knows me knows that I harp on sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. But that plays a massive role in hunger hormones,
Yes, it does.
signaling, and thus being cravey and everything else. Geez, we could talk for a whole hour plus on sleep alone.
Yeah.
Many a good book have been written on the topic of sleep, including my favorite, Dr. Chris Walker, Why We Sleep. Is a fantastic deep dive, and it's still easily understood by the layperson. As well. So what as you got into competing, and let me so we'll go the past 3 years. So now we're the past 3 years. What surprised? Now you played with it a little bit years ago. But what surprised you most about the way your body had changed, and having gained obviously more experience
Yeah.
through your education and training other people, watching your own training. What surprised you, or what was different about competing this time around than it had been years ago?
I think because of my advanced age, I kind of I was a little skeptical, like a lot of women that come to me are, with the skin thing. And they're always, what about the crepey skin? Well, a few years ago, I remember doing this and having the crepey skin. And I was like, well, if I fill it with muscle, that's a way. So I started doing that. But with doing the shows, I think I've been surprised that my body has responded so well, but I've also, over all these years, figured out what foods work the best for me, because everybody's different. I couldn't tell you exactly what I do and have you do it and you get the same results. And that's part of what I do with training people, is figure out their body and what works the best for them. And that's kind of like, after all these years, have kind of figured that out for now, because our bodies change over the years too. So the skin thing, the same thing. But just, eating correctly, all of that helps. I very rarely will drink anything, alcohol-wise, water. So many of us just, I eat a lot of protein, drink a lot of water, don't avoid any one food group ever. So I think too many people go in too many drastic directions and they keep beating their body down. We need food and fuel, a lot of it. The right stuff, yeah.
And that goes back to misinformation that you find online a lot, from influencers, or even just gym bro science and stuff like that. Where it's just like, and then program hopping and diet hopping and fad diets and things. And it's like there's reasons why certain things work and some things don't work. And when it comes down to why a person will lose body fat, gain body fat, such and such, is the calories. That's what it all boils down to. And no matter how you slice it, be it through intermittent fasting, which is a big thing, but ketogenic diet, carnivore, you name it. It's at the end of the day, there are the nuances of timing, and there are the nuances of macronutrients and the like. So what do you find for, let's just say a general rule, because this answer certainly does vary depending, and and in our line of work, one of the things when somebody comes up and says, well, what should I do for XYZ? And they expect a one sentence answer. Well, and that answer is usually, it depends. So just generally speaking, for a female, let's say that she's entering her 40s, or she's middle-aged, and she's starting to exercise, she's lifting weights, she's active otherwise, she gets some decent sleep, what would protein requirements generally be? What would you recommend?
I kind of go along the lines on the higher end of a gram per pound of lean mass, at least, as that's a minimum, if they're working out regularly. At least 3 times a week as a minimum. I think for people to get results, it's unrealistic to think that they can spend 2 hours working out, and in all the hours in your week, their body's going to magically change.
Right.
It does take time and being consistent. Being consistent, number one.
Yes.
Even if you're only working out a couple times, being consistent and then eating correctly, no fad diets. I've done diets like that to I like to experience what my clients are talking about. So I'll do them temporarily, like keto and this and that. Some of those, they will work, which gives people the hope that this is it. This is what I found. Are you going to live like that? Is that how you're going to eat the rest of your life? Right. Are you going to feel healthy, and is your progression going to continue on that? Or are you going to start jumping around? Right. So a lot of it is jumping around. I believe in eating healthy, just nutrition. I don't believe in diets. Yeah. For specific things like competitions, that's different. That's short-lived. But on a day-to-day basis, I eat, a variety of foods. Yeah. I don't deprive myself. People will look at me and say, oh, I can't eat like you. if I want something, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do that unless I'm getting ready for a competition. I know, well, you can't have that, you know. But on a day-to-day basis, a couple of things out of your week is not going to destroy you.
Right.
It's the overall picture.
Right.
Yeah, and being consistent.
So consistency and adherence to a sound plan, be it nutrition or exercise.
And patience.
And patience. Oh my gosh, patience. You know, and actually I think that's probably where a lot of people fall off, is just not patient. And just the fluctuation and the fluctuation in body weight. People get really hung up on body weight, and I get it. I mean, it's a really simple, reliable in the sense that you can track body weight. You know, it's one of the components of a SMART goal, being measurable. So you can measure your body weight, but there's so much noise in measuring your body weight. I like to keep track of my body weight, and when I advise people to do so, if that's a means in which they want to do it, I say let's take a 2-week average. And over periods like that, because the day-to-day sodium balance, hydration, you know, the amount of carbohydrates you've consumed, and how your muscles hold on to the sugar and the glycogen and the water and the fluids and all this stuff. It'll drive you crazy.
Oh, it will.
You're underslept. You retain water. You know, now
Really
I've never been a woman in my life, but you know, there are periods of time women experience water retention and bloating and discomfort and all these things. That's something that men will never experience. So yeah, it's really can mess with your head.
It can.
When you're up and down a few pounds over the course of a few days, and you're like, oh, I've been cardio. I'm a cardio bunny, which, you know, that's a whole right. That does too. That does too.
Yeah.
So what is when ladies particularly? Okay, let me ask you this question: is your personal clientele primarily women?
I've got a mixture. Men, women, kids. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So let's say females who come to you, what is the most common challenge they bring to you? With say, I want to fill in the blank.
They usually want to tone areas. They want to lose fat. They want to lose weight is what they say. What I tell them is they want to lose fat. And then I tell them, we can't tone fat. We have to lose the fat, build the muscle up, and you can tone the muscle. And then you've got the definition. If you have no muscle base, there's not going to be any definition. So I think that's a big misconception, and something you do see a lot of when people do the Instagrams and this and this and this. You've got to lift the heavy weights, but you have to work up to it. That's what I tell them. Don't be scared. And when you come in, you're not going to be lifting heavy weights right away. You have to let your body adjust, work up to that. But you do have to build some muscle mass. And you're not going to get bulky. I strive to get bulky. It's hard. You've got to eat a tremendous amount of calories. But yeah, most women, that's what they come in. They want to tone. They want to tone this area. I'm like, what have you been doing? Well, I've been doing tricep kickbacks. What else? That's not going to do it. Yeah, so I go through the whole thing, explain everything, whether they grasp it or not. But then I give them the plan that will start to, if they listen and do it, change things. And they have to eat correctly. Yeah, so, and that's another thing with women that come in like that. They're not getting enough protein. They're shocked that they're eating way too much fat because it's all healthy fat. They're shocked when I say, your peanut butter and your almonds are not protein. Forget it. They're fat.
Yeah.
Just consider them a fat. Forget the protein part. So there's just some little things that people think they're doing because they hear all this stuff. They think they're doing the right thing. They're not getting any results. And it's frustrating. So it's simple. It's just a matter of understanding it and then sticking with it too.
That's right. You know, so for the general population who, you know, they hear a soundbite, they hear a snippet of a podcast, or they read something in a I mean, do magazines even exist anymore?
I know.
You know,
I think they are.
They read something online, they see a video, they see a post on social media, and it's just a little blurb, and it's just literally a drop in the ocean of what needs to be considered. And so it's, you know, the thing, and you took the words right out of my mouth when ladies particularly come to you and they say, this is my goal. I want to tone up. And you give them the explanation that you gave, and you say, look, you got to lift weights. You got to lift weights heavy. You got to lift weights hard. You got to work hard. And then I say, well, what's the first thing out of their mouth is, I don't want to be bulky. And I've had that over the years as well. When I talk about resistance training and training hard and having a structured resistance training program, and a lot of times it's, but I don't want to get bulky. And to your point, it's like, do you understand what it takes? People who really want to get bulky, who really want bulky in the sense that they really want to get muscular, they want to get big and strong, it takes years and years and years of consistency and proper nutrition and proper recovery and proper programming and proper exercise selection. You're just not going to do that with a general exercise program. Which is another thing. People come and they say to you and to me and other fitness professionals, they come and they say, well, I got this template online, what do you think? You say, okay, well, that may be just fine, but how do we know these exercises are good for you? How do we know what your technique looks like? Let's get in and look at some technique. And most people's technique, even if they had been working with somebody in the past, even with, I hate to say it, you and your husband Eric, who I know very well, known for a long time, you guys are competent, professional, experienced personal trainers. You can get a personal training certification out of a Cracker Jack box these days, and the good. Personal trainers are a dime a dozen.
They're
fitness
all
coaches
over the
are a dime a dozen. How many are really competent and really know their stuff? I want to give credit to those who do.
Yes, oh, definitely.
But at the same time, it's, I could talk to somebody or have talked to people. It's like, I've been working with a trainer for a year, and I'm spinning wheels, and I'm like, oh, explain a little bit, go in a little bit more depth. I'm like, that's why they're telling you to eat peanut butter as a protein source. First of all, peanut's not a complete protein. Second of all, it's a source of fat. Take protein. Don't even consider that a source of protein. You get your 5 grams of protein for your 18 grams of fat. At 9 calories per gram. It's ridiculous. People fall over when they know and they learn how much fat is in a tablespoon of olive oil, or a tablespoon of peanut butter. And like you said, oh, but it's healthy fat. Sure. It's healthy fat at a tablespoon, but you tend to end up while you're cooking dumping half a bottle of olive oil in, and bam, there's 500 calories right there.
And then you got your avocados that you're eating, which are great for you, but avocados, and then your nuts, and then you're doing nut butter, and then you're doing this, and then you're doing coconut oil, and it's like, oh my gosh,
That's right.
Okay, that's where your calories are coming from.
Exactly.
And
throw a few glasses of wine in there with it, and not only you're now adding to calories, but you're also you're putting the brakes on fat loss, and it's just a million other things.
And they're all simple things too that if people understand, they would or if sometimes they don't want to hear it, but if they understand it, then they're like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. And they just don't know. They just don't know.
And they just don't know. And they don't know what they don't know. And sometimes it is a hard pill to swallow, and it's tough news to hear some of this stuff because you say, oh, well, I love my peanut butter. I thought it was a good quality source of whatever, be it as it may, and then don't take my alcohol from me. I've known to, and I like a good drink. And at the same time, I tend to get one of my personality flaws is I tend to get a little judgy and preachy at times when I hear and I see people, doing things that may not be right on plan with what they come and they say, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, but it's a little bit, but then they live a life that's contrary to what that plan is, with the consistency and the adherence. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you doing?
I know. If they understand, like I will have people come to me and they'll right off the bat, they're not going to stop drinking. Well, I go through the whole of what it does and how it's not, because they're so worried about the calories. Well, I just don't eat as much because I know I'm going to drink. Well, that's some big mistake, right there.
Right.
But, then I explain the whole thing about, yes, their fat burning shuts down for sometimes a couple of days if they've had quite a few drinks, and that everything that they are consuming is going to their fat stores. Sometimes that does get through to people. They won't admit it right away, but then later, all of a sudden, they'll tell me, and they'll be, my weight's going down.
Yep.
And I tell them, It's up to you as long as you're aware of what you're doing. If you just do every once in a while have a drink, that's up to you. It stalls you. But don't come and say, well, why am I not seeing results?
Yeah, exactly.
This is why.
And you have to understand another component of SMART goals. SMART being specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound, is it's attainable and it's relevant to your goals. I mean, if it's like you want to. I don't know. I really can't think of a situation in which we can say that alcohol benefits health. Some people throw out some theories and things, and it's like some hold more weight than others. Some are plausible. I can punch holes in most of them.
Yeah.
But with the new food pyramid, and as we're talking about in 2026 now, the new food period. It gives a little bit of grace to alcohol consumption, and one of the points is, and I took issue with that initially until I started thinking about it, looking at and from different viewpoints. And some people, it's really we should not dismiss or ignore the stress relief and quality of life benefits that come over social bonding with family and friends. And sometimes that happens with a drink or two. And so the net benefit, or there may actually be a bit of a net benefit if you enjoy a drink occasionally with a family and a friend, and you kind of wash off some fatigue. It is much different, and I think that's the spirit of what the little bit of forgiveness on alcohol in the food guide pyramid, the new food pyramid. Otherwise, I can't really think of a compelling argument for where alcohol plays in any quantity.
No, because people will say, well, it helps me sleep better. It doesn't, because then you might fall asleep, but then you're waking up wide awake.
Yep.
It just all the way around. I'm not somebody that will say, I'll never have a drink. I mean, I'm not, but I also know that the people who are drinking daily, it's affecting their bodies. If it's an occasional, special occasion or here and there, that's different. They can, moderation in that. But the everyday, that's kind of asking for trouble.
It really
in
is.
a lot of ways.
And to have somebody in accountability, like a coach and a close friend, a family member, when you say, where does it cross the line of being like, okay, well, if you're drinking every day, where it's okay, fine, you have a glass or two, wine with dinner. I mean, every night is kind of like, but so where's the line where it's like, okay, well, we have different issues to address here. If there's
definitely
if there's overconsumption on a regular basis, that goes beyond you're impeding fat loss a bit or messing up your sleep. There are deeper things that have to be addressed.
And if it's a stress relief thing, working out is like the best.
Isn't it?
Stress
It
relief.
is.
Yeah.
It is. So there was a study, I don't remember exactly who conducted or when, but it was a pretty well-vetted study within the past 2 years or so, and it showed that people who were had suffered clinical depression, and over the course of, I want to say, 12 weeks, by using a period of time versus a set exercise program, but 20 minutes of exercise, resistance training specifically, at a moderate intensity, just 3 times per week at the end of 12 weeks, self-reported people had been pulled out of what would be considered by some professionals out of a clinical level of depression because of the positive the neurotransmitter signaling and the way the body feels and the confidence and the self-esteem and the energy and everything that goes along with that. Just 3 times a week, a non-structured exercise program for 20 minutes at a time at a moderate effort, resistance training. That's huge.
That is. No, and that makes sense, and it makes, I know from experience. I grew up in a family of, depression, people fighting depression, and it has always, that's what I said, it has saved me from so many things. The working out does. You can have people, and I'll tell them, and I have a lot of people who they're depressed. They come in, and when they leave, they're like, I feel so much better. And it does. It makes a big difference. So if you're one of those people, it's like, I'm so down. You feel like concrete, like you can't get up. Just put your stupid shoes on, walk through the doors, and you'll feel 100% better afterwards.
Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever had anybody say, I wish I hadn't come in.
Yep.
So yeah, it makes a big difference.
Never, and I was talking to somebody about this the other day. This topic exactly is, I don't think, or I can probably say with confidence, I have never come out the other side of a workout saying, "Oh, I wish I hadn't have done that."
No.
You know, now there are workouts that are like, maybe you don't perform as well as you wish, and we say, "Oh, it was a bad workout," but in reality, is I have 100% of the time felt at least marginally better. At the end of a workout program, or at the end of a workout, I should say. So when so we kind of talked a second, when ladies come and they say, well, I'm going to start lifting weights. I don't want to get bulky.
Yeah.
I'm going to get bulky. There were some other myths that we were talking about a little earlier on. A common one we hear: carbs after 6 p.m. make you fat. True or false? This is myth section, but
I think it depends. But I think if you have not had enough food through your day and you have some decent carbs, not junk carbs, it's not going to affect you that much. I wouldn't make it a consistent, thing that you're doing all the time. But if that day you just haven't had enough food in you and you haven't come close to your calories, that's not going to derail you. Have some protein with it, though. Don't just eat the carbs. Don't just eat carbs and fat either. So don't have a peanut butter sandwich before you go to bed.
Right.
Unless you're somebody who's very thin, who's trying to gain weight.
Right.
So yeah, that I would not recommend. But if you're going to have a little bit of carbs with some protein, I honestly would say just have some protein before you go to bed. But the little bit of carbs isn't going to make you magically fat.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, it's what you've done through your whole day, through your whole week that's going to matter.
So number one of the responses where it starts off, well, it depends, because of all the various
It does.
Okay, so we already talked about women should avoid lifting heavy. We know that's a thing. How about detoxes? What are your thoughts on popular detoxes and detox trends, and if they?
I think that our bodies are made to naturally detox if we are treating them correctly. So I think a lot of the detox stuff that's out there is so harsh, and that's why people will take it and they'll feel horrible. And they'll say, well, it's just all the nasty stuff coming out of your system, that's why you feel so terrible and this and that, and it's doing you good. Maybe that's the case, but why not just gradually do it by shifting your eating, eating better foods. Your body will cleanse itself.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we were made to do.
Yes.
Back in the day, we didn't have all these special concoctions. So no, I think just, and if you're somebody who feels like my body's just toxic, I need to do this over-the-counter cleanse, you don't. Just start to eat better, and your body will naturally adjust, and you'll feel better, and you won't have to go through all of that pain. And drink a lot of water. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, critical hydration and having plenty of water. And after all, we have an immune system, a GI system, liver and kidneys for a reason. All of which are to do exactly, from an evolutionary standpoint, to do exactly what you just described, versus overpriced, health food store, cleanse that's supposedly going to magically, transform your entire, whatever. Yeah,
and it doesn't teach you how to. I mean, then what are you going to do? Go back to your normal, and then you're going to have to do that again and again and again. Just start to clean up things a little bit. Yeah.
Agreed. as we talk about women as they go into middle-aged and into their 50s particularly, and this of course varies from person to person. So some of the big topics that at least in perimenopause, menopause, and the like, and hormone changes. What are some challenges that women face when they come into hormone changes as they get deeper in life?
And it can be frustrating because you're tireder. It's all understandable. You're tireder, and you have to actually work out smarter but more. You have to eat better. You can't eat what you used to eat. You have to change the way things are because your body is different now. But there is a way around. I remember hitting that point where I was like, I feel like I look like I'm pregnant. What in the heck? And then I'm like, I'm not letting this happen. You can do something about it. A lot of doctors, I love doctors. There's good and bad. But some of them will tell women to just deal with it. That's just this part of your life. Just accept it. Be kind to yourself. Yet be kind to yourself by taking care of yourself better. Find the right workout that you should be doing. Working out, definitely with resistance with weights, because osteopenia, osteoporosis is being diagnosed like more and more. Women aren't lifting weights. So the more that they do that, the better that's going to be. The working out helps to de-stress you. You'll sleep better because women at that point too, they're not sleeping well at all. Most of them are just up all night. So it's just, it's a tough stage to go through, but if you realize you can do something about it, you don't need to be like, it's just the way it is. That's kind of an easy way out. But you're going to feel horrible because you're not doing anything about it. So you need to do something about it, and you can. I did. From that moment, I remember thinking, this isn't going to happen, and I'm going to do something about it. And it's when I started working out different, a little bit harder, lifting the weights, heavier weights. My bone density is great. So that's just something that women have to be aware of. Yes, you're tired, but you still got to make yourself move, because if not, it's just going to get worse. And to get through that stage in life is really hard. So de-stress, work out, eat, treat your body kindly, and I think that you can get through it, and you'll feel better than ever on the other end of it. So
as you make those lifestyle modifications and do what you just described, what's your position on, or how do you feel, and your thoughts on HRT or hormone replacement therapy?
I think for every woman, now they've lifted that warning that for women to go in, that you should go in and talk to your doctor, go in and get tested, get your blood work done, and then I think go from there. And it's one of those things where they have to make up their mind whether they choose to do it or not. Some women are fine without it. They don't feel that bad, so they're like, well, why I don't think I need it. Well, then that's fine. And there's other women who are suffering all the time, every day, and then if they go get their blood work done and the doctor's like, I think we should put you on a little bit of this or this, and they feel 100% better.
Yeah.
So it's a personal thing that people have to make up their own minds. I never, ever tell anybody, you should go do this, or you should go, I kind of, they've got the information, they can find out and then go from there. But I don't think it's something that they should close their mind off to, now that they've proven that it helps with so many things and so many health issues with women. Because it used to be that it was harmful, heart, this, that, and now they're like, flipped it, that it's a benefit. So, yeah.
And for men as well. And for a lot of people, for some reason, they have closed their mind to it. And they either it's kind of like, are they ignorant to it? They refuse to accept it. I think it's probably, I don't know, has it come a long way? I don't know if it's come a long way or not, but I think there's still particularly for men. I think there's a stigma attached to I'm used testosterone replacement therapy. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy, or because for men, a lot of times, I think it's just in general, the male personality is you want to maintain your masculinity and your manhood and your and it's like, okay, I don't need a testosterone replacement therapy. I don't need to get tested. I'm not even going to talk to my doctor about it because that's BS. Like you said, never going to push anything on anybody. That's between a person and their doctor, and their own personal decisions and their medical insurance as well.
Well,
I mean, that plays a role. But I'm with you. I don't think people should close their mind off to the idea.
I think
people are resistant to it.
information.
Even if it starts with a simple online search, that of course are reliable. I'm not your favorite TikTok influencer, but
research what you're looking into.
Exactly.
But and I mean the fact is that we are living longer and longer, so some of the issues we're having more of because we're living longer. So you have to kind of research and find ways that maybe this will help to prolong, so that we are living a good, full, healthy life that we feel like we're happy with. But that's a personal thing that everybody's got to figure out themselves. So I kind of leave it at that.
Nope. So when we talked on, and now I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. I'm going to try best not to, because you're the expert that I've invited. So when it comes to sleep. And the importance of sleep.
Yes.
And we could truly fill multiple podcast episodes on the topic of sleep itself. We had talked prior to starting this, and we touched on it briefly in our conversation just now, all the things that can come, not just the benefits of sleep, but the negative consequences that come from sleep deprivation, a lack of sleep, particularly over the long term. You're a busy professional. I'm a busy professional. Most of the people that we coach and we deal with and we train are busy professionals. And so therefore, kids, careers, finances, stress, all the things, it's not always possible to get the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep. In fact, it's dang near impossible for a number of people. Whether it be a time thing, whether it be a just kind of a mind thing, a kind of feeling of amped up, just processing information thing. There's a lot of things that go into it. But so we know, and I think a lot of people understand, as we were talking prior to here, well, this is when you sleep, this is when you rebuild, this is when you recover, this is when your body goes through a process of regenerating kind of in a way, particularly when you talk about synthesizing tissue, including fat tissue and muscle tissue and skin and hair and nails and bone and connective tissue and all the things. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But then, a lot of people don't talk about where it's like, what are the is there really negative consequences? Oh, there are many. And for every person that I talk to, and I talk to so many people about sleep, and they say, I don't need sleep. I love this one. My second favorite. So my first favorite is you sleep when you're dead. Okay? You're going to be dead a lot sooner if you don't get the sleep. Okay.
Body will make you sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Your body will make you sleep. That is for sure. But also I perform just fine with 4 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep on a regular basis. Okay, you may be vertical right now. You may be doing a good job with your work. You may be a great dad or great mom, or you may be, doing all the things, and playing recreational sports or whatever. Okay, that's fine. At this level, I guarantee you bump that up to 6, 7, dare I say 8 hours consistently. You're gonna see a different side of the world. It's gonna give you a whole new lease on life. So it's a there are what is it? I don't remember the exact percentage, but a very, very, very minute number of people on this planet are considered short sleepers. Those who can't function optimally with 4 hours of sleep per night. I think probably 75 of the people percent of the people I talk to about sleep think they're short sleepers, or they're, where they can get away with performing optimally. You don't know any better.
Yeah.
You don't know any better. And then, it's one of these things, you go, 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 and then crash.
Yeah.
And then go, 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 and then crash. Like you just said,
Yeah.
your body, you're going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Try anybody who's just driven for 10 or 12 hours,
Yeah.
And it's like you work an 8-hour shift and you're just driving home for 20 minutes, and your body will put you to sleep quick.
Yeah.
One of the things is when it comes to trying to fall asleep, is people say, I lay there and I try to go to sleep. I try to go to sleep. I try to go to sleep. It's just it's counterintuitive. But the harder you try to fall asleep, the harder it's going to be to fall asleep.
Yeah.
As you become resistant to that. So the thing is, you can't force yourself to sleep. However, you can force yourself awake.
Yeah.
So to set a solid wake up time every day is a really good idea. Okay, so those are just some little nuggets. But what do you see as some of the most common, whether experienced yourself or your clients, or just your understanding of how this works, some of the negative consequences of getting poor quality, poor quantity of sleep over a long term?
Yeah, I think that a big thing is you're putting your cortisol levels rise, and your body's under a lot of stress. You will retain a lot of fluid, a lot more, so somebody can go to bed, and if they're not sleeping, not getting enough, they wake up, and they might wake up heavier than when they went to bed. It's like, what sense does this make? But you can't function. You think you're functioning okay, but then you will also start to crave carbs and sugar, because your body's like, I need some quick energy, I need this. So then you've got the people who are eating just junk when they get up, because their body's like needs that quick burst of energy, and then they're crashing, and then that's their whole day, is up and down and up and down and up and down. And they think they're functioning okay, but they've kind of gotten used to that. Whereas if they would, most people are not, they're not going to bed at a decent time, and they miss their sleep window, and so therefore then they can't fall asleep. I fall asleep, but then I'll wake up, and a lot of women going through perimenopause, menopause will do that. They'll fall asleep, and then they wake up, and then they're like, they can't go back to sleep, and that's another big issue too. But there's a lot of negative. It affects your stress. Like I said, your cortisol levels raise. Your eating's going to be all thrown off, because you're going to most likely give in to your cravings, because they're too strong at that point. Your body can't repair itself. If you're working out and you're not resting to recover, you're basically just tearing your body down, tearing it down. So we do need sleep, and if you're somebody who can't put in the hours at night, if somehow you can get like 20-minute here and there naps, that's better than nothing. If you can just, I've got a nurse who, she would swear by it, and her hours were horrendous. And she would go sit in her car, set her timer. I think it was like there's a window. It's like 22 minutes. I'm like, 22? But she said that would be just enough to refresh her, and she had trained her body to fall asleep for that short period of time, and it made the world of difference. So there's ways to try to, if you can't get that solid time frame down, there's ways to do it so that at least your body's resting for a little bit of time, even if you can't be in a sound sleep for 7 hours, because a lot of us just can't. It just doesn't work.
And those in the medical profession, and there's tons, so I don't want to leave anybody out, but the medical profession, doctors, nurses, fire, police, who work extended shifts, and in some cases 24-hour shifts, and or more, sometimes maybe a little bit less, but good grief, when you're working, there's a really difference between a 20-hour shift and a 22-hour shift. But there is, but still, it's I shudder to think. I think the longest I've personally ever stayed awake is like 32 hours. And that was not by choice. That was because I was working. And that's a long
that is
freaking time. and your body just goes into a whole nother state. I mean, it's like your brain just switches into this whole other mode, and
you're functioning. Don't you feel like you're functioning okay? It's almost scary because it's like, am I really though?
Right.
I think I am, but am I really? Yeah.
Is it really safe for me to drive home right
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things, but sometimes that stuff's unavoidable.
Yeah.
I'm in the line of work as a career police officer. That stuff happens.
Yeah.
And like the professions that you just mentioned, and then if you can get into the point, or a person can get into a point where it works for them to sleep 22 minutes in some cases to feel at least refreshed or re-energized to get through that next period of time until they can get some rest. Okay.
Yeah, but it is very important.
It is, and it
need to figure out a way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's our brains. That's getting that sleep is how our brains, which is the executive of the whole body. You got to give that brain a break.
Yes.
And it's like most of us use that brain all day every day and stretch it to its max. So the least we can do is throw it a bone and say, well, let's rest the brain and the body.
Turn it off. Yep.
Then it impacts recovery. We know, and so the thing on the cravings and giving in and the inhibitions when it comes to when you're sleep deprived, you go in these extended periods of time. There's two significant hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, which people don't understand. Okay, it's a double-edged sword where you have one hormone is responsible for making you feel full, and one hormone is responsible for making you feel hungry and cravey. So when those are out of balance, you're getting you're getting hungry and cravey, and so you're going to go ahead, and those inhibitions are suppressed now, and so you're going to go ahead and give into those cravings, and guess what? You're not going to feel full, and so it's just this terrible thing, and I know I personally, it's just bad news.
Now I think people can do something to, like, if you're in that situation, is to feed your body healthier, like have some fruit, have some rice, oatmeal, whole grain toast, have some things that are healthier, that will then you'll find that those cravings for like the cake and the ice cream, that goes down because you're feeding your body some of those things that it's asking for. So that can help. And that's being the 10 steps ahead of yourself.
That's being the 10 steps ahead of yourself, because if you have a bag of chips sitting here and you got a bowl of grapes, well, I'd actually personally go for the grapes.
Yeah.
Actually, I would. Okay, so maybe bad example for me anyway. But yeah, a lot of people do tend to reach for the salty, fatty, sweet or whatever over oatmeal or something.
Yeah.
Which, because there's a little bit of prep time, with oatmeal.
Yeah,
even minute oats, where it's real easy to just reach into that bag of M&Ms, that shareable size of M&Ms, and just throw them down your mouth and not be satisfied with them and just want more.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a thing, I know you've heard it and probably said it a million times, just like I have, is nobody ever failed out of fat camp for eating too much broccoli.
That's true.
So that was a little insensitive. I really shouldn't have said that. But all right. So some personal questions about you.
Yes.
Just without thinking. Okay.
Oh God.
So
scary.
for you to get yourself pepped up and ready to go, coffee or pre-workout?
I've done both, actually. I do like my pre-workout.
Cool. Okay. Morning workouts or evening workouts?
I am an afternoon workout person.
Okay, so neither.
Because of work. It's when my time frame when I'm allowed. Well, I have time.
Yeah. Squats or deadlifts?
I don't do deadlifts.
Yeah.
I see no reason for me to. I'm 66.